Alright guys, so this is what we are going to make today, a kind of a drum code, melodic, modern techno stuff. As usual, we're gonna go through the elements, so I'm gonna start by the kick. So very sharp kick with a rumble, a bit of groove underneath. So let's see how we did it. So we have several layers. One layer can be added. It's a bit of ambience. As you wish. But basically we have the rumble, we have the 16th pattern, we have the main kick, top kick or mid layer, and some ambience. So let's go through everything. I'm gonna withdraw the effects. So we're gonna start with the main kick. So this is a sample that is very heavy in sub, and the important thing is to really choose the right sample. So either you use a synthesizer to have a big sub layer that is clean, or you have to choose a sample, but you have to be very careful that it's not too much compressed or too much there's not too much effect on it already. So here I chose, because I wanted something subby, I chose this kick. So you see it's pretty clean already. So lots of transient and then a very clear sub, not too much process. So first I EQ. The goal of this is to kind of cut the kick, sizzle it to get what we want. So I get it more subby, even more, and I get rid of some resonances or some frequencies that I didn't like too much, around 3 or 5K. And I add just a bit of reverb. This is my usual go-to industrial ambience, but basically it's just some reverb, and that's it. There's just a bit of reverb. Or actually there's nothing. Yeah, no, just a bit of EQ. So sometimes it's interesting to cut in some frequency range to get rid of resonances and then boost it a bit, and usually you get better results from doing this. So there might be a little boost in gain, yeah, so I'll keep this. So then I have my main kick, and I make my rumble or my 16th pattern. So I just copy paste this sample. I get rid of the highs. And I just put a kickstart or any kind of sidechain. Big sidechain, because I really don't want to mess the punchy part here. And this gives me this little groove. Then I want my rumble. So as usual, convolution reverb. It's best reverb to do this. Could even put it at 100%. And to get my rumble right, I really have to compress it to get a mass of sub and to distort a bit. So that's what I do with the amp and the overdrive. And then I get rid of the highs because I want something clean. And already I have my kick rumble and pattern, 16 pattern. So now I just wanted to add a bit of mid punch to the kick. So I used another sample. You see it's very in the mid range. Always put it in mono because I think there was too much side and I want my kick very clean and in the center. I only took the talk. So you see it just adds a little bit of punch. And then I just add a bit of reverb or ambience. And also some high top kick. So to do this, you can use any kind of impact and you just get rid of the sub and you have to sidechain because you really don't want to mess the transient. And also I sidechain to get rid because there's too much ambience and I wanted something clean. But you can keep it if you prefer. You see, it was too much. And here I kept it a little more. And so this gives me my kick. So pretty simple and pretty clean. And then I have to process everything to get it more compressed, to get more drive, and to limit a bit. So as usual I use drum bus, but be careful with drum bus, it can be very harsh. So I keep it soft and I don't use it 100% wet usually. So I'll just withdraw everything. So when I get to this part, first I get a bit of drive, saturation. So you see, I wanted some more rumble, so I made a dry part of the kick with a drum rack and a rumble part. So this is my go-to rack. So this is kind of a side chain, but I use the shaper. Some 100% reverb to do the rumble again. Again, you have to distort it. So I do it before and after EQing. And that's it. So just to get more rumble. And when I'm there, it's almost done. I just have to EQ a lot to get something cleaner. So here I boost a bit the bass and the punch, the body of the kick. I get rid of some highs that was a bit nasty in the 10k plus kilohertz. But we can keep this if we prefer. and that's it. And then you can use a spectrum to analyze your kick and see what's the tone. And this is my go-to to get the tone for the track. And there you have your kick. So I put everything in an audio channel because it's better for the processor and then to make my track. And I get this. I added a bit of amp to make it more clear. You see really the difference. This you can keep it like this. It's just a bit nasty for the ears, and to produce I used to withdraw this 10k plus range. It's a bit harsh. And there you go, you have your kick. Then I added a bit more groove because it was too simple. So I used a Perc loop. So this is a polyrhythm. So it's interesting to get my groove changing over 8 bar. And so just in the mid or sub range, this is just a Perc, so kind of a tom. I get rid of the highs, I sidechain, and I use some delay. So it's just some delay here and some EQing, and a bit more delay and reverb to make everything move. And it gives a bit of space also. And I added another layer. So it's just a sample, but again it's just some Perc or some kind of kick. I sidechain and just get rid of the highs. And there you go. So that's it for my kick sub part. Then we go through the bass, the main bass. And you could also get this kind of bass that's more usual to hear. So I made this bass from Serum. So to do that, we need a very short envelope. So it's quick notes like this. This is the first step. Second step is to get any kind of sine wave, or you can use any kind of wave, sound wave actually, that is very low to get the bass. And one important thing is to get an FM synthesis. So here you choose FM from B. And you see this way I get this grit and this kind of twist in the sound. Also, you have to get the filter. So with the envelope, you can attach the cutoff pretty low. So each time the note plays, you get the grit from the high end, and then you go in the low end. And that's what gives you this movement and the grit also. And I put a bit of chorus to get some more movement. So you see, without the FM synthesis, it's pretty simple. It's just a bass note with a filter envelope. But you really get that movement, that grit, and that originality with the FM synthesis. And you can try and use different waves. You see. And pretty much that's it. I just add a bit of distortion to make it more clear, a bit more nasty. So pretty big amp on it. And a bit of EQing, of course. So here there was a bit of too much resonances, so I get rid of it. And to get it growling or kind of that engine sound, you need to get those low or mid-low frequencies. You see. And to that bass, I added one more bass to get more interesting sound. So it's kind of another FM synthesis or another layer. So I used the same process. So you see, sidechain, bit of EQ, bit of distortion. And this is the same process. So you have a low pass filter, short envelope, but this time the envelope is linked to the drive, and you have other kind of sound wave or sound sources. And I could also add some FM synthesis if I want to get all the tones, but I kept it simple here. And so it adds this airy vibe and another character to it. You also have a few effects, because I think I used this preset at first. So a bit of distortion, delay, reverb. This gives the space, the movement with the flanger also, and some compressor and distortion you have also here. So then we have our, what I call the drop bass. This is the main sound here. So it's kind of a call and answer. So you see this is just one bar here, one bar answers. And the first one is an arpeggiator, and the second one there's no arpeggiator. It's the answer. So I think I started with the init preset, or it's pretty simple. It's wavetable. So there's just reverb and dimension to give it space, this big space. And again, the same technique with the envelope, but it's longer this time, and you link the cutoff. So you see it's just a kind of a stab, longer stab, and with the arpeggiator, it's kind of a Benny Benassi bass sound. you get the grit really because of the amp and the reverb to get the space, and you have some more reverb here. Here, lots of reverb. And then you have the answer. This is the same. It's just the same, but you don't have the arpeggiator. And the cutoff is more open. So you see it's more coherent because you have the same sound source, but still you have some movement and some differences. Here the cutoff is low. You have the arpeggiator. Here it's just one bar note without arpeggiator, and the cutoff is open. And you get lots of space because of the reverb. And to get it move across the 8 bars, you can just move the cutoff, but you can do also the same with the drive to make the filter move and to get some evolution in the sound. And then I added the last bass because why not more bass? So you have this kind of stab, but it's quite long. It's the same spirit because this the same processing as the drop bass, so lots of reverb here. And this time, so it's 2 oscillators with unison to get the space. But this time I use a band pass filter that is linked to the LFO, I guess. Yeah, that's it. So the band pass filter across the bar is moving. You get the same kind of effects or dimension, reverb, distortion, compressor, and a bit of EQ. And the same processing. And this adds some notes here and there along the evolution of the track. Could also take, yeah, that's nasty, but to get it more in the okay, so then I have a few layers of vocal. So I use some samples, but this is a vocal sweep. It's just pitched down and pitched up. So I use the sample, but you can do this. For instance, I used, if I want to make a vocal sweep with this vocal, I can just take it, put some big long reverb. So my go-to reverb is Valhalla Vintage because I like it so much. So you just put some reverb, you freeze the track and replace it to get the sweep. And you can make your vocal sweep just by reversing it like this. And just to get rid of this, you can do like this. Or like this is better. And there you go, you have your vocal sweep. So to get it longer like this, you can put 2 reverbs, or do it the process 2 times, and you get it. There you go. So here just some vocal samples. I get rid of some resonances here. So again, you can just look for the resonance here and then cut it. Same thing here. I just add the amp because for vocals it's really useful if you get a bit of amp. It really gives that power, that clear side of the vocal, and a bit of distortion, of course. And here I added some more vocal chop with the arpeggiator, and I do a tremolo effect. So it's just a vocal sample that is dry, lots of reverb, and then you get a tremolo effect by putting down the phase to 0. And let's see here. I can even put some automation here if I want. And there I have it. So next is the drone. So here I used Omnisphere. So for drones, sometimes just tones, 1 bar tones is better, especially with the Omnisphere. You have lots of presets that you can use, and you already get some interesting tones and evolution. So you see you can play single notes, and I just use the scale, so F minor scale, and just a simple evolution with very close notes. So again, bit of saturation with the amp, some EQing, lots of reverb to get the space and the dark side of the sound. And I added another drone to get more deep sound and more character to it. So it's just the same note with the octave under it, underneath. And of course sidechain. Sidechain is important because here you have lots of harmonics the sound is pretty full in the mid-range, and it can easily clash with the rest, especially if there's lots of elements. So really sidechain everything. So then I have a Lazer sound. So just kind of a perc that I use here. I think I already showed you, but just a perc here. And I use Vanilla Supermassive. So to get this kind of Lazer sound, it's very short decay. Just get the clicky and parts. You can also use the pitch envelope to get it even more. And then this Vanilla Supermassive preset with the dotted 8 orbit is really cool. So it gives this spacey vibe. Then I have my bad gated. So for this, I use the same notes almost. So it's just a difference here in the evolution to get the contrast. I get serum, so I use the preset. Gate is bad. So you can look up to it. It's just a preset that you have already in serum. And same process. So a bit of distortion, sidechain. So I make it evolve with the auto filter to make it come here, and to get some more evolution with the track, you can just use the same pattern but pitch it up 1 octave. There you go. So I think what makes it work, it's with the drone, you really have a contrast between the notes. Just try and use the scale and see what fits. So then I have my drums. So I have one clap here. So pretty basic. It's a sample, so again really used a right sample. So here it was full of frequencies, full of noise. So it's rich in sounds. So too much highs, too much mids, sorry, so I get rid of the mids. I just compress a bit, and I use the transient to get that slap. And it makes it shorter with a higher attack and higher torque. Bit of reverb and some cuts to make it more sharp and a bit higher in frequencies. Then I have my hats. So I have one hat groove. So again, really, you have to choose the right sample. So here it was a long loop. I only chop it up and get 1 bar long loop that I wanted. I used the transient technique to really get just the attack part of the sample. And a bit of EQing. I use Valhalla Supermassive as reverb. And to get the spacey vibe again. So that's it. Oh, sorry. So for this one, I used some distortion with the overdrive to get it more noisy. And the vocoder again, that could be used for getting noise. Also with the unvoiced parameter. And you can then sizzle and get the sound that you want with the vocoder. I get rid of the very high-end part that was too aggressive. Some reverb, some delay to get the spacey vibe, and some sidechain. Same thing with the other for the open hats. You really get it noisy with the overdrive. Again, I cut the very high end and I put some reverb to get the spacey vibe. And same thing here, overdrive, vocoder, sizzling the high end, reverb, sidechain, and some auto filter or EQ if necessary. And then I put everything in a group. So you have to get the volume right to get that groove and everything that fits together, and also some glue compression and a bit of saturation again, so it really makes things together and go hand in hand with each other and with the track. Then I have just another loop, but again same technique, bit of distortion and just reverb for the ambience. And the ride. And for the ride, what you have to be careful of is the resonances. So here you have a nasty resonancy, but I didn't want it, so I get rid of it. And so everything goes together thanks to this compression and this distortion with the group. So really group your hats. It's important and interesting technique. And finally, we have a bit of sweeps. So here it's just some samples that I put here and there. So to get the drop, so it's just a sweep. And I use the same reverb for everything to get in the right ambience. A clap. So those two fit together to get the drop. And here's just some ambience in the background. So to get this, just long reverbs. And I use some vocal chops, so sample chops or small sounds. And in between I use to make it move, I use different pitch here with the same sample to get different sounds between the track. and there you go. Alright guys, if you like the video, please like it, share it, subscribe to the channel, and let me know if you want specific sounds or tutorials, or if you want me to dive in some specific techniques. Thank you guys so much, and see ya.